Hey everyone. So I just wanted to come on here and talk anthology. So I'm just gonna take everybody back to 1995, and I just remember that year being such an amazing year, especially if you were a Beatles fan, because it wasn't it was just like, 2 years prior that, Apple Records, got together and then they reissued, the Red and the Blue album on, CD, cassette, and vinyl as well, and me being a fan of these compilations, I was, like, very, very happy because I love those so much, so to see it, like, being reissued on CD format was very, very, amazing. And then in, 1994, we got the Live at the BBC, sessions, which was, again, amazing, release. Like, I only heard about rumors of there being recordings of them doing stuff on the radio, but I never really knew until the whole BBC thing came out, and I was like, "Wow, these are really great recordings." And, just after that happened, it was a thing where you're just feeling like something is about to ha come out next. It is it there has to be something grander to, follow up the BBC, sessions. And, and then I just remember just being at, the Beatles Fest, in Los Angeles. That's when they used to have the Beatles Fest here in California. And just, the whole announcement of this thing called Anthology. And I was like, wow. And they said, like, it's gonna be like a three-part series on ABC where you can finally hear the story of the Beatles being told by the Beatles, as well as people that were around them at the time, like Neil Aspinall, George Martin, and Derek Taylor. So I was like, "Wow, that's so amazing!" And then they even announced, like, there's gonna be some CD sets that's gonna come out. Like, there's gonna be like also a three-part CD set and cassette and vinyl set as well, and and that's all gonna feel be full of unreleased stuff, which to me was exciting because me having a father who, um, no longer is with us, but having a father that, was a collector, he collected, like, a lot of Beatles memorabilia. He even found himself, getting his hands on what we fans now call fan club editions. And so, like, hearing stuff like, Unsurpassed Masters, the backtrack stuff, the, ultra rare track CD, um, the Get Back, bootleg CD, and of course, Sessions. Which Sessions was a very important one because, we were supposed to have gotten this back in, I wanna say it was either '82 or '84. Um, but yeah, and so just to hear, like, like, a lot of the stuff that's on these albums are gonna be featured on anthology, CD sets was amazing because, a lot of the stuff that I loved were from, this one, Unsurpassed Masters Volume 2, because this one has Leave My Candle Alone, 12-bar original, the first take of I'm Looking Through You, If You Got Troubles, and of course, my favorite song, That Means a Lot. Um, so just to, hearing that those are gonna be coming out, as part of this anthology thing was mind-blowing for me. And then the icing on top is they announced that we're gonna get 2 new Beatles songs. Paul George and Ringo has gone back in studio and they're, putting, music and vocals onto these 2 unreleased John Lennon songs, and I was like, "Wow, this is, the big thing," going from a reissue to some, radio stuff to this big finale, which was the anthology. And, all the magazines that was coming out, like, Time Magazine, Newsweek, TV Guide, we're all putting these things like Beatles 95, the Beatles are back again, meet the Beatles again, I was very, very happy. I was, like, excited for all this, I just remember going to Kmart and, like, buying a blank videotape because I said to myself, "I'm gonna be in front of my TV all 3 nights. I'm gonna watch this and I'm gonna record it," like, on VHS, and I even told my family too. I said, like, "Hey, this might be Thanksgiving, but that TV is mine for all those 3 nights. So we're if you guys wanna watch sports, go to another house or go to my grandmother's room or something like that, but that TV is mine. I'm gonna be in front of it, watching it, recording everything, just being and just having my own kind of Beatlemania moment, because sadly I was not around when Beatlemania was happening in the 60s. Um, so the whole thing came on, the whole 3 night thing, and the first night it ended with the music video for Free as a Bird, and I was, like, very, very happy. I was like, "Oh, wow. It does sound like the Beatles. This is the Beatles," it's I just was falling in love with that song, and then night 2, came on, and then all of a sudden we got Real Love, and I was even being happy even more, because I was like, "Oh my god," because I know the song Real Love, because anybody that um has seen, like, the Imagine John Lennon documentary remembers that Real Love was on that, soundtrack. Even though this is, like, a whole different recording that they use for the Beatles version, but I still loved that 1988, soundtrack, recording that we got. But it was so great to hear them do Real Love. It was just, like, so amazing, and again, it was like the vocals were it was just like, it was those vocals that we know from back in the day of when they're singing all those beautiful songs back in the 60s, and just like, that whole nostalgia and the feel of love, it's like it was so much love in Real Love that I was, like, so happy. And then I was, like, surprised that we just got 2 songs and there was, like, 3, segments, and then especially when the album started to come out, like, we got Anthology, 1 in November, we got, Anthology 2, I think it was, like, either February or March of '96, and then we got, um, Anthology 3 in October or November of '96 as well, and it was strange because this one was gonna come out without a new song, um and I was, like, always wondering, like, they shoulda came up with, like, a 3rd song, I don't know why we only got 2, and this 3rd one needs, like, a new song, Um, but, like, the whole, albums came out, I was very, very happy. My dad bought me the cassette version because I didn't have the time have a CD. So he got the CD, I got cassette, but then by the time Anthology 2 came out, I got a CD player. Probably got one for Christmas, so then I got this on CD and stuff, and then getting also the 3rd one on CD and getting this one as well. It was, like, just amazing just, like, hearing them all and stuff and having it in my collection, and especially to hear a lot of the songs I loved from this CD, all nicely remastered and stuff. Well, officially mastered, Um It was great, like, I was like it was like, "Wow, what a great way, to have this whole package," and of course, it came out on cassettes, came out on CDs. If you're wondering, yeah, these are the CDs in, long boxes, and, yeah, the cassettes are in long boxes too. Um, it was really, really, really cool to find those, and so as time went on, like, we started to get other stuff coming in, like, oh, and '96, we got the VHS set, the 8 VHS set. That was amazing when that came out because we heard that it was gonna be like a 8 set. So that means there's gonna be more story that's gonna be told from what we saw on the TV thing. So when watching that was very, very special. Seeing everything just being expanded on and the recordings and albums, the tours, making their films. My favorite parts are when they're doing the record, and it's like volume episode 2 VHS. There's a segment in there where you hear them in the studio working on the stuff and just hearing those outtakes. And I love hearing Beatles outtakes. I love hearing them in the studio chatter, alternate stuff, like, just having fun recording these songs. And we got that again in episode 8, where we got some of those outtakes for the Beatles sessions, or White Album, if as people call it. Um, and so it was great. And then that was it for a while. Then in 2001, the Beatles Anthology book came out, which I got that for Christmas that year. I was happy. And then 2 years later, we got the DVD set. Um, and it came with like a bonus disc, filled with like, seeing like, Paul, George, and Ringo, like, jamming at George's place, doing Raunchy, Blue Moon of Kentucky, and Thinking of Linking. It was I had fun learning Thinking of Linking. And them in with George Martin at EMI Studios, listening to some of the outtakes and some of the behind the scenes stuff from them recording Free as a Bird and Real Love. So it was this whole thing has been amazing, and now brings us to 2025, and uh hearing like, hey, we're getting a fourth one, a fourth stat, um which I have some criticism about this, but I think I'm gonna leave that to everybody else that have made videos, because I share the same sentiments as well. Even though I will agree with Pop Goes the 60s, where I say, like, even though we got 13 new recordings, those 13 were amazing to hear. I'm so glad that we got those 13. Would have been great to have gotten those on the box sets of what we should have gotten, the box set of Rubber Soul, Help, Beatles for Sale, Hard Day's Night with the Beatles, and Please Excuse Me. But as George says, beggars can't be choosers. uh, but what we what we did get, like, and some of the stuff that even was on other things was really cool, because I really wanted on vinyl the recording of them doing "You're So Square, I Don't Care," um, but yeah, enough about this one. But at the same time, like, it was like, hey, like, we're also gonna be adding onto this one Now and Then, which was, as we all know, Now and Then would have been the third song on this one, but sadly it didn't happen. Um, so it's great to see that, Now and Then will finally be part of the anthology thing, even though I still do not know why they put it on the reissue of this one. It just doesn't belong on this one at all. It belonged on the anthology series. Um, but again, beggars can be choosers. Um, and but we got this, and then we got the whole Disney Plus thing, and I have to say, I will say this, that this is Anthology 2025. This is not Anthology 1995. So therefore, I know that this was gonna be different. I know that we're gonna get some more interview stuff that we'd never seen before, but at the same time, I know that it's gonna look different and it's gonna feel different. And I think that itself makes it special and makes it important because watching all 3 of them, I have to say this too. I was I was awake till 3 in the morning every day that the new ones came out, you know. So yeah, I was up like last night at 12 o'clock watching the other 3 the last 3 episodes and just like, just watching all of these like, newer interviews that we were hearing from from them. There's some new stuff that we heard that we're getting from John, new interviews from Neil Aspinall, George Martin, and Derek Taylor was very amazing to hear and like and watch, and there's also more footage that was added onto this that was not there. I'd never even seen before. So it was amazing. And this is where that whole thing, I'm not crying, you're crying thing uh, comes into play. And that is when I watched the ninth episode, Anthology 9, and that one brought me to tears because it was like, so great to see a lot of this footage of them working on the anthology interviews, some of the behind the scenes stuff. And then you see Linda with Barbara and Olivia, like the Beatle wives, and together with the surviving Beatles. And just like, just hearing like a lot of them talking and a lot of them like, together. It was just so beautiful to see, this is the kind of footage that you just really wish that you could see. And then you see more footage than what we know from the Free as a Bird, Real Love Now and Then sessions of 94, 95, and just like seeing them like just totally like, having a blast in the studio, just, you know, Paul George Ringo being Paul George Ringo, and knowing that they're just having fun with this, knowing that their friend John is not there anymore. It was just amazing to see. This is where I think an- Anthology episode 9, that is where every kind of sin that you could think about going into this project, the whole Anthology 4 thing, hearing that that the episodes are going to be edited, that's going to be different and stuff like that. All of the all the bullshit kind of criticism that we heard from a lot of YouTubers lately, I feel um went away once I saw Anthology 9. I think once I saw that ninth episode, I was like, this is beautiful. This is really special. This is what it's all about, and so I felt that, like, this is in most part a success. This is a very successful kind of um special. Like, I'm just like, I I was crying last night. It was so beautiful to see that episode, as well as to see some of the other episodes too, like, just just like, seeing how the surviving Beatles look back in the 90s, like, this, you know, because, like, we all miss John, again, we also miss George, and then also it's like we miss seeing, like, Paul and Ringo looking still so youthful in the 90s, as well as George and stuff. And missing we miss now we miss Derek Taylor is no longer with us. Neil Aspinall is no longer with us. George Warren's no longer with us. It's just down to Paul and Ringo, just, soldiering on, and just, seeing like a lot of those people, the majority of people just now no longer with us. It was so beautiful to see, and um so I'm happy with this. I'm so happy with Anthology 2025. I know there's going to be like a lot of people that's going to be making their videos right now, probably still butthurt about some aspects about it, but I don't really care. This is beautiful. This is Beatles. It's there's so much love that was put into this. That's always been the underlying um theme about when it comes to the Beatles, and that is love. And and so I'm just glad that we finally got this. I'm just and just like when you talk about like people are no longer with us, also was thinking a lot about my dad too. My dad passed away before we even had a chance to see the Get Back special. He never had a chance to hear Now and Then, and some of the great outtakes that was coming out like afterwards and stuff like that, and the whole Let It Be restoration. And sadly, he's also not here to see this new anthology, and so it's sort of like it is very bittersweet knowing that my dad is also no longer here to enjoy this with me, and so that makes it bittersweet. But I know that he would have loved to have seen all this. Like we get so excited out of every time that something new of the Beatles comes out. So that that's it. That's my review. Just if you haven't watched all 9 episodes, do it now. You have this whole weekend, this whole to watch it. Just do yourself a favor, go to Disney Plus, watch it. You won't be disappointed. And I feel like this is something that I'm gonna rewatch over and over again. It's just so amazing. I'm gonna watch it alongside the original cut, the original version of it. Like um it's just so beautiful, especially that ninth episode. It just tugs at the heartstrings. So that's my review. I would like to let her I would love to see what everybody else feels about this. So feel free to comment. Feel free to comment on the video and let me know, like, what do you think of this overall anthology thing? Oh, and I will mention, hey Zeb, I will also mention that on streaming services like Spotify, Amazon Music, and stuff like that, they also put out soundtrack versions of the series. So, you have like one album for the songs from 1 through 3, another one from 4 to 6, and and then the last episodes. So yeah, so you could hear the soundtracks too, but yeah, so that's it for me. Thanks so much. Hope everybody having a great holiday season. And all you need is love. Still rings true to this day. All you need is love.